Shirley, what's the latest on evictions? Are you still able to file? Are they hearing cases? What is the latest information on that?
Yeah, so as of this week, actually, so today is Friday, June 5th, but as of this week, all of the Houston area courthouses started hearing eviction cases again. Now, there was a little bit of a mixture of ones that were starting to hear those via online web type hearings versus in person. For the most part, though, I think all of them in Harris County and Montgomery County were hearing the eviction cases in person. I think it was, I can't remember, but Hidalgo County, I think, was maybe one that was doing them via web for now. But anyway, so we have actually started getting back to court and getting back to the, I won't say normal eviction process, but at least back to an eviction process. So, but a couple things with that are important for investors to know. First off, if you are looking at filing an eviction, if you're in an unfortunate circumstance where your tenant has just stopped being responsive, or just kind of even if they're being responsive, they're not able to make any kind of payment, but they're not leaving, and kind of forcing the hand there. If you have a mortgage, you need to make sure before you file an eviction that you're not subject to the CARES Act, because the CARES Act actually it's actually preventing any federally backed mortgages. So that'd be Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA loans, so any kind of federally backed loans, mortgage loans, are actually prohibited from filing evictions. So if you do have one of those kind of mortgages, unfortunately right now you're going to have to wait. And as of now, that CARES Act ruling expires on July 25th. So you've still got almost about 2 months from now before you'd be able to file an eviction. So now, if you don't have if you don't have a federally backed mortgage and you don't have any kind of Section 8 housing or government protected housing tenant, then you are able to now file evictions. Now, the courts are operating in a first in, first out basis. So what that means is right now, all of the court hearings or all the cases that are being heard are ones that were actually filed before really the COVID-19 impact started. So for ourselves at the Advantage Asset Management and Property Management Company, we did get two hearings this week, but both of those hearings were actually filed in around mid-March, so before the courts shut down and things. But we had a date originally, the court shut down, so all of that, of course, got pushed back. So really all the cases that are being heard right now are going to be the ones that were filed before the COVID-19 shutdown. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of backlog that's going to take some time to work through from all of those court cases that got pushed off and had to be rescheduled several times. In general, what the courts are saying and the different judges are saying is that they're looking to get caught up by the end of June. They're hoping, because now they're actually hearing cases more than one day a week, whereas traditionally they would only hear the eviction cases on one set day. So multiple days they're hearing cases now. And they've actually, most of them have received state funding to help with serving notices about the eviction trials or just initial eviction proceedings, things like that. So that, that all of the court workers, the constables, things like that, they're actually serving the paperwork, are working overtime essentially in order to help try to get things caught up by the end of June. But one thing important now, let's say that you haven't filed an eviction case yet, but you're in that situation where you're going to look at doing that. The normal standard time frame before all of this craziness was it would be about 20 days roughly from when you filed an eviction to when you got your court hearing. Right now, that is completely out the window. The courts just are still way too backed up to stay within that 20-day time frame. So if you file an eviction right now, and unfortunately we have had to file a couple of evictions here as of the last week or two, we still don't have a court date yet on those evictions. So yes, the courts are hearing cases. However, if it's a new filing, I would expect it to be at least a month and possibly more until you actually get a court date and are actually able to start the proceedings from there. So just a couple things to keep in mind depending on what situation you're in, but at least we are back to the courts being open and functioning. It's just going to take some time to catch up on that back.